You know, rods are a very important thing in this game. They're gonna help you catch mythics, legendaries, relics. On top of that, some rods even have special multipliers that are gonna multiply fish by 4, 6, 3, and make them look cool. But you know, you gotta know where to buy these rods. You gotta know what is the most effective strategy and what rods to get. And in this video, I'm gonna teach y'all what rods to buy, where to buy them, and what I would personally recommend if you are new to the game. This video will cover everything over beginner and endgame. So if you're endgame, mid-game, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna teach you what exactly to buy. So first off, if you are new to the game, let's say level 1 through 5, you're gonna spawn on Moosewood, obviously. Basically, there's gonna be a couple rods right here. You're gonna get that guy's quest for some easy money. So fellas, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go over to these rods. This is obviously after you've gotten yourself a decent amount of money by fishing and doing quests. It should take around 10 to 15 minutes. You're gonna go right here and you're gonna buy this carbon rod. This is much better than your current flimsy rod, I'm pretty sure it's called. You know, you get control, resilience, luck, and on top of that, your kilograms and multiply. All in all, this is the first rod you are going to get. This is a very good rod for beginners. I would recommend this. Me personally, I didn't know any of this, so what I did is I actually bought the lucky rod. You know, the lucky rod isn't bad if we just go over here and try to find it. As you can see, you know, it's really not that bad. It just has minus 12 resilience, minus 30 lure speed, and on top of that, its max kilograms is only 200. Quick little rundown if you guys didn't know. Lure speed is how fast you attract the fish. Luck is how lucky you get with mythics and legendaries. Control is how big the bar is. Resilience is how fast and hard the fish moves. Kilograms is how big the fish you catch. And then fish caught is just the amount of fish you caught. So, you know, if you compare these stats with the carbon rod, you can see a significant difference in some of them. And you obviously are going to tell which one is better. And in this case, it's the carbon rod. So that's why you're going to buy the carbon rod. Now, that's about it. That's what you're going to buy at Moosewood. So when you get ready, you're going to buy your boat or get a sailboat. Doesn't matter. And you're basically going to leave this island. So fellas, the second rod that you're going to be getting is in Roslit Bay. You know, it's straight of Moosewood. You cannot miss it. Basically, you are gonna need a little bit more money for this because it is a significant price increase. You're gonna go over here and you're gonna see a ton of rods. And now all of these rods are actually pretty decent. So, you know, you got the steady rod, rapid rod, fortune rod. You know, I bought 2 of these actually, which was my mistake, but it doesn't really matter anymore. So, you know, you got 3 rods and you're probably wondering, well, which one do I buy? Well, the answer is very simple. You're simply just going to buy the cheapest one. And what is funny is the cheapest one over here is actually the best one. Alright, so here's the problem with the rapid rod. Good lure speed, horrible luck, normal control, horrible resilience. You're going to fail horribly catching mythic fish with that resilience. And on top of that, its kilograms is only 700. Now, what I bought first was the fortune rod, and this is why it was a mistake, if you're wondering. So, you know, if you go here and you go to the fortune rod, you can see that it isn't that bad, you know. Well, I actually take back my word. It is pretty bad looking at it. You know, almost 40% negative lure speed, which is horrible. But then you got the luck, 110%. Normal control, pretty bad resilience, pretty bad max kilograms. As you can see, you really don't want this. This is kind of like the little worse, rapid rod. But if we actually go to the steady rod, which this is the rod I used a lot. In other words, this is the rod you're going to be stuck with for a while. As you can see, the significant difference, 72 fish caught with this and then 571 fish caught with this. If we look at its stats, we can see that it definitely has a lot of negative lure speed, but it makes up with that for everything else. 35% luck, pretty decent. 0.05 control, pretty decent again. 30% resilience. This is very, very good because that means the fish that you catch, mythics and legendaries, if you have a little bit of skill, you're actually just not going to miss them. And then the biggest thing about this rod, I feel like, it's its max kilograms. I think, yeah, that's at 100,000 max kilograms. So you are able to catch any fish in the game as big as you want. On top of this, it increases the shaky UI size, so clicking is naturally just going to be easier for you. So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get the steady rod after you get the carbon rod, and you're going to stay with this for a while, so I'd recommend enchanting it with whatever you want. Preferably hasty or divine or swift, I would assume would be best on the steady rod. I don't have any of that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this island. You're not gonna really find anything here. Now, you're gonna see a very significant price change now, jumping from 7,000 to either 15,000 or 100,000. I'll show you guys in a second. Now, fellas, the next rod that's gonna be your next obtainable thing that you should get is gonna be the Mythic rod. It spawns in Traveling Merchants, and it is super good for one specific reason. As you can see, it's not here right now. You know, sometimes he doesn't have it. It's a game of luck waiting, but obviously I haven't. So, fellas, why this rod is good is its one special ability. If we go in my equipment bag and look at what I have on it, as you can see, I have caught almost 2,000 fish with this. This is an extremely good rod. So if you look at its stats, it doesn't really stand out that much. You know, 0% lure speed, 45% luck, 0.05 control, 0% resilience, 2,000 kilograms max. You might be wondering, what makes this rod so special from all the others? Well, if you look at its passive ability, all fish have a 20% chance to be rainbow. That makes a fish's value multiplied by 4.5. So a thing with a multiplier on it, the mythic multiplier, will multiply that fish's value by 4.5. That is extremely good. Imagine that on a mythic or a legendary even. They're gonna sell for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50k if you get lucky. Now, let's say you don't want this. Let's say you don't want the mythic rod. It's too far for you. You know, you want a more simple rod. Now, this rod is more for grinding. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over to, I think it's Sunstone. My bad, guys. I was lying. You're going to go over to Terrapin. And now on Terrapin, you're going to find this magnet rod. Now, its stats, they're okay. You know, negative 10 lure speed, 0% luck, 0.05, 0% resilience, 10,000 kilograms. What makes this thing special is that it only attracts crates. So those crates have coins inside, fish, bait, etc. So this rod is primarily for bait, coins, and fish. So if you're trying to get money like that, you can buy this too, because it also is significantly cheaper than the mythic rod. That's like times 8 less than the mythic rod. So, you know, if you don't want to wait that long, buy the magnet rod. It's pretty good if you want crates only. If you're going to want a lot of money quick, save up for the mythic rod. That's what I did. I went from steady to mythic. Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this rod other than it catches crates. So that's pretty much it for this. So let's move on. Now, here is where it gets dicey. After you get the mythic rod, because eventually you are going to build your way up to the mythic rod. The mythic rod is the primary thing you are going to want to have. You're going to want more rods eventually, and there is more rods to get. So here are the big 3. The thing is, after you get the mythic rod, you're going to want another rod. The mythic rod is primarily the thing you want because of its value and it's easy to grind coins, but it's going to get boring eventually. That's where the big 3 come in. You have the king's rod, the divine rod, and then the trident rod. Now these 3 all have their own passive ability that makes them really, really overpowered. So let's take a look at them real quick. Now if we go into our equipment bag, we can see here is the first one, the king's rod. This thing's passive ability is that all fish caught are 10% bigger. As we can see, its lure speed not so good. Its luck decent. Its control though is where we start getting good. We got 0.15 control. That makes the bar massive. Resilience, base 35%. Max kilograms infinite. You can catch as big as you want. This makes the king rod really good for catching mythics and legendaries, which is kind of a built-in passive ability. So the king's rod, keep a note, the 2 main things are all fish caught are 10% bigger, and you can pretty much catch any mythic and legendary. Moving on, I think I said divine rod. I meant the destiny rod. Now this thing, this is kind of just for funsies. I wouldn't really get this if you're not rich. This thing mostly, as we can see, focuses on luck. It has all normal stats and negative lure speed until you get to the luck that has a 250% chance. That is very, very, very high when you can stack it with bait and such. On top of that, it recently got a buff where you can get 5% higher chance for shiny and sparkling fish that are basically multipliers. All in all, I really wouldn't recommend this rod. It's 190k compared to the King's rod that in my opinion is a little bit better. That is 120k, which is 70k cheaper. Now, we're going to move on to the final rod, the Trident rod. Don't mind the relic on it. This is completely wrong, at least for this one. As we can see, its lure speed is up 20%. Its luck is up 150. Its control, 0. Its resilience, 0. But its max kilograms is 6,000. 3 times more than the mythical rod. Now, this wouldn't be as good as the mythical rod if it didn't have a buff to go with it. So it actually has 2 passives. One is to turn a fish Atlantean, which makes it times 3.5 more. So times 1 less than the mythic rod, but on top of that, it has a 10% more chance to happen, while the mythic rod only has a, I think it's, 20% chance to make them rainbow, and then the Trident rod has a 30% chance to make them Atlantean, which makes it so much better. On top of that, it has a chance to stab the fish, which means it stuns it, and it also increases the bar, which is super overpowered. Now, don't get me wrong, this is definitely a very, very, very good rod. You know, it's harder to get, 40,000 more, it costs 150k. You can have 100% of this Desolate Deep thing done, which I don't even have. I got someone to open the door for me, and on top of that, you need 5 enchant relics. Now, I'm going to show you where to get these rods so you can make your final decision and then give my opinion on what you should get. So, for the King's rod, it is very simple. You're going to want to head over to the statue place. I don't know how to say that third word, so I'm not going to say it. So, head over here. You know, you're going to have to pay 400 as an entrance fee, but that's okay. So, you know, go in here. You're going to go to this guy. This is pretty simple. You're basically going to go to the enchant where you enchant. So, you know, pay him 400 and then go down. So, once you're down here, you know, you're going to see your enchant relic thing. But you're going to spawn next to the elevator. You're going to take a left. And as soon as you go left, you're going to see a little skeleton guy, as you can see. And there you go. There's the King's rod right there. Super easy to get. Don't need to try anything. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you guys is going to be the Destiny Rod. And just a heads up, you need to have 70% of this total bestiary completed. So if you don't have that, you cannot get the rod. I only have 74%, so I'm 4% above. So the King's Rod and the Destiny Rod are actually relatively close to each other. Basically, you're going to go to the right of the statue, and you should see this giant arch right here. You're basically going to see this little starry girl under the arch. She's going to be sitting down. You're going to talk to her. She's going to say, blah, blah, blah. Do you have 70% of the index completed? I can offer you something for 190k if you do that. If you say yes, she's going to say, okay, here, and then give you the Destiny Rod. Now, despite being the most expensive, it definitely looks the most badass in my opinion. It literally has wings, and it has a little aura. I love this rod. It's my favorite looking rod out of all of them. Just a heads up, if you do want to use these Destiny and Mythic rods, I very highly recommend you to get Resilient and Resilient on both of them, because if you get a Mythic or Legendary, you're not catching that. You're not, because they both have 0% resilience. That doesn't affect this too much, even though it has 0% resilience, because its passive is obviously stunning the fish and increasing the bar. So you don't have to worry about resilience that much on the Trident Rod. So for the final rod, for Trident Rod, what you're going to do is you're going to head over to Sunstone. Once you're there, you're going to see a little buoy. As you can see, it's right here. You know, you're going to get you do need the basic diving gear for this, by the way. Get your basic diving gear. In my case, I have flippers to make me go down faster. This is the Desolate Deep, and the Trident Rod is hidden over there. I'll show you guys in a second. So what you're going to do is you're going to go all the way over here, and you should see this little spike sticking out, and then next to it, you're going to see this, like, I guess, arch. Go down here, boom, and you're basically going to go all the way here, and you should see, like, a little, like, where you can enter. And as you can see, question mark, question mark, question mark, and this is where the Trident Rod is. And basically, each of these pedestals, you're going to have to put a relic on. So that's an additional 50k. Just another thing to tell you guys, a player can open this door for you. I would recommend going in the Discord server if you want that. A lot of people host. Beware of scammers, though. Don't get scammed. So those are the big 3 rods. And of course, you have the Aurora rod, which got added yesterday. Its thing is it multiplies fish by times 6 and has a 15% to do so. 15% chance, my apologies. It's 90k and it can only happen during an Aurora event, which is extremely rare. So I'm gonna put that to the side for now because I don't know its capabilities against the Trident and the Mythical Rod, and I could argue that the Trident or Mythical might be better. So that leaves the big question: what rod should you get? In my opinion, I'm gonna go with the Mythical Rod. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this, but I'm just gonna sum it up real quick. The times 4 cash bonus for the Mythic Rod is extremely good, and it's gonna help you guys a lot when catching fish and trying to earn money. On top of that, it's technically 90,000 cheaper than the Trident Rod if you were to do it by yourself. I could even argue to add an extra 3,000 credits, which isn't much, but it's still something for the diving gear to get down here. There isn't really that big of a difference. People kind of just get what they want in this game. You know, if they want the Trident Rod, they'll get the Trident Rod. If they want the Mythical Rod, they'll get the Mythical Rod. They don't get it for stats. Moreover, like, oh, I think this one looks cooler. And so, even with that, in my personal experiences, the Mythical Rod has treated me much better than the Trident Rod. If you want to go down my path, I would recommend the Mythic Rod. You know, it's easier to get. It's technically cheaper. And it has a really good bonus. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want a bait guide, I said I would do that, and I'm still willing to do that. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Thanks for the support on my last fish video. Anyways, guys, have a nice day / night wherever y'all are. Peace out, everyone. See y'all later. Goodbye.